During all that time, was nobody really around to help you and, kind of try to keep you from, slipping that far, or what was the
Um,
situation like?
my family is here. My mom was 2 hours away from me, but my everybody else is here. But I kept them at bay, and I've always been like that. Even when I was a kid, I didn't like to share my feelings too well. I didn't care to, and I always wanted everyone to think that I was successful. There was kind of a complex I had.
Mm.
I needed people to think that I was like perfect and tough and smart and all these things. So I just kept everybody at bay, but they kept seeing, they see me on a birthday and on the weekends, supper, family dinner, and then Easter and Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatever. And every time they see me, I'm 10 pounds lighter than I was the time before. So they were definitely asking me, like, what the fuck is going on with you, man? Like, you look like, you're like Casper and you're 50 pounds lighter and you look like shit and your teeth are all fucked up and what's up with you? And I just told them, which was the truth. I had colitis, which is like a form of Crohn's, um, but it was cocaine induced, so it was like a half truth. But you do lose a lot of weight and whatever. So I just was a bullshit artist. If you want to meet the best liars in the world, talk to an addict. They we had that skill honed because we needed money for this and that and excuses of why we couldn't make it or whatever, right? So they just, you know, didn't want to, short of kidnapping me, there's not really much they could do.
Right.
So, and I'm a big proponent of asking for help. Like I say it all the time. Like if like, when you're about to do something you're going to regret. Like you have an intuition about you, like anybody. Some are stronger than others, but whatever. You have a feeling, and if you're about to go do something like that, you ask for help. Or if you keep making the same mistake over and over and over and over, thinking that you're going to get a different result, that's fucking crazy. That's literally insanity. So ask for help. If I would have asked for help, I would have avoided, a lot of my hardships. That's a certainty.
Yeah, man, and something that's really tough too, like for people in the family that have a family member that's, um, addicted to drugs or things like that. It's tough for them too. I mean, do you have anything that you think like could have gotten through to you during this time or could help somebody in this situation?
Um, well, for me, I was always a little bit crazy and always in like very intense is what I mean. Like a 10 out of 10. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all in as hard as I can. And so for guys like me, I'd have to be taken. Like somebody would have to intervene and like literally, like physically, I mean, take me, bring me somewhere and sober me up and, try to get through to me, not only in my head, but in my heart, which is really tough. Like, so if anyone out there is listening and they have a close family member or friend, uh, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that they're doing drugs. You didn't ask for it. But part of loving someone is you have to sacrifice. So if let's say I have a brother. I have four, but let's say one of my brothers gets addicted to something, and I love him enough that I'm gonna intervene. It's to a point where I'm like, okay, I need to intervene. Sorry, my contact's kind of getting fucked up. Um, so what I would, what you need to be prepared for is war and battle. Like they may physically hit you, they may verbally accost you, and by may I mean they will they will they're not themselves. This is where the disease of the addiction comes in because it eats your brain, it eats your neural paths. It's you have a physical mental change. You need this substance more than you need the love of your brother or your mother or or sometimes your kids even. So if you're going to intervene, get ready for war, and just know that they don't mean it. They don't mean what the shitty things they're saying. And if you love that person enough, you're going to put up with it. And obviously stand your ground, all that kind of stuff. But it's a long journey that you didn't ask for. So that if you go through that and you intervene, then that's a lot of love right there. So the best advice I can give is, again, I'll say it again, is get ready for battle, get ready for war, and don't don't be so harsh on your judgment, because the last thing an addict needs is a judgment. No addict wants to be an addict. That's not real. That's not a thing. But if you're acting like you're better than them, they'll be less likely to reach out to you, and they'll be less likely to tell you the truth. If my brother who's in this uh, hypothetical story I'm telling comes to me and says he's an addict, and I say like you're a fucking loser, that it stops right there. Or if he says I stole something to pay for drugs and I fucked up, and you can listen to that and not judge him, but make sure he has a safe place, you're playing the long game, and the long game is the one that's going to win. So
Yep.
just be very patient, but also be very aware of your own feelings and your own boundaries as well. You can take a break from that person. Like another, like a good example is, when you're in an airplane, let's say there's some turbulence, or the pressure gets lower, the oxygen masks come, right? And you need to take it first, and then you can help. That's kind of what you have to do when you're working with an addict. You have to make sure you're good, the tool and the vehicle to help this person, because almost no one can do it on their own. That vehicle has to be good, change the oil, make sure everything's good to go, and then help.
Mm.
That's probably the best advice I could give to someone that wants to intervene. And I think that would have worked with me. I'm kind of doing the Rolodex in my family. I got a
Yeah.
big family. I'm trying to think of who could have done it, and probably pinpoint a few that could have done it had they known, right? Not blaming them, but if they took that advice that I just told you and implemented with me, it would probably work.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you sharing. And honestly, I've had family members that have been in bad situations, so that's advice I personally can benefit from. So hopefully, people listening can relate as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
So obviously, at this point, I mean, you've turned things around in a huge way over time. I mean, what did finally get through to you, and how did that process of coming back up really start?
Well, through the same kind of brain waves and like physical reactions that the cocaine did. So I was, I'm lucky enough to be in construction. So what I do is tangible and I can see it. So when I perform a task, I can physically see it at the end of the day or end of the hour or whatever. Whereas if you're, an accountant, I don't know anything about that, but let's say you're an accountant and you're dealing with numbers on a paper. I'm sure they have some sort of metric that shows a job is done, but you don't get to physically move your body to build something with your hands that wasn't already there. So I had that going for me. So I had a friend that did just what I said. He grabbed me, brought me
Wow.
to his place, which is actually another friend's place. They were roommates, and was like, you got to stay here, man. Like, there's no way that you can get out of this without me basically holding you in house arrest. So that broke the cycle of my body's need for the drug. So that the habit, or like the chemical, like the chemical need for the cocaine was gone after like 3 to 5 days, I would say. And it's kind of a little blurry because I've kind of divorced that part of my life. But after that, I started to get into construction with him, and we ultimately started a business together that became very successful. But it was through not breaking promises to myself and to him, as well as um, bringing value to the table. So building decks or
Mm.
whatever it may be. That started to switch my brain into the mode of being having a worth attached to my name.
Yeah.
Once that happened, then I started to really snowball into a good way, into success, and I no longer craved the cocaine side of the dopamine and endorphins. I craved the job complete, task done dopamine and endorphins. And
Interesting.
yeah, that's kind of what kicked it in for me. And that's here in Edmonton, we have this. There's like a tent city that just started. It's very small, but people ask my take on it because I was homeless and I was addicted to drugs, and they ask my take, and they're often surprised about what I say. It's not just give them food, water, and shelter. It's make them work for it. The
Mm.
my
Yeah.
my my theory is this: if you take the homeless population in the city that I'm from, and we drive 2 hours away into a rural area, and you help them, you give them, get the materials donated and the food donated and all that kind of stuff to build a a bunch of series of cabins, let's say, and you're building a cabins in and essentially a community that has a congregation, some kind of hall where all the food is, like a mess hall, like in the barracks or something like that. And they grow their own vegetables and they grow their own fruits, and they have cattle, and you butcher your own meat, and everyone has a task, and there's no money that exchanges or anything like that. And they're in a safe environment, and the petty crime rate goes down because the people that are doing the petty crime are only doing it so they can get $30 to get crack or cocaine or heroin or fentanyl or whatever fuck they want, meth, whatever. So if these people are gone, that the money that saved prosecuting these people or the policing these people can be put into use in this community. And all these people that are part of a community and part of a tribe are contributing, and they're getting massive amounts of dopamine and endorphins, and they're part of something. And that's the biggest proponent that helped me. And everybody I know that has been through recovery and is recovering and is fine now, they all echo that.
Mm.
It's the same thing. Maybe not the community, but the fact that you need endorphins and um,
Right.
dopamine
Dopamine. Yeah.
to yeah to uh, to make it happen for your body. Your body craves it. So and of course
Yeah.
you're gonna get just if you have any populace, you're gonna get people that are not gonna get it, or you're gonna get people that are bad or whatever. So that's why it would be kind of more of a you know uh, not a prison, but a guarded community until they're healthy. And I'm my big vision would be help them, train them to interview well, teach them how to make resumes, teach them how to groom themselves, how to if some people are good with their hands, maybe they can cut people's hair in the community. Um, teach them like look good, smell good, feel good. Show them how to work out. Teach them yoga. Maybe there's a religion they want to do. Maybe it's Catholicism or Catholic or whatever. I think this is all really important. And again, of course, you're going to have the bad ones. You can't have 100% success rate, but you'll have damn near, damn
Yeah.
near
Yeah.
that, or even if it's 40% success rate, that's pretty fucking good. And then they can come back into society and be implemented, and some may have to go back because the relapse rate is like 98%. But I think you'd be able to curb that in this community. So I'm not 100% sure how I got there, but I know that we were talking about how to how I recovered, and it was just being part of the community, which is all right. I got it now. We started a
Oh, you're
business,
good.
and I had to be accountable to him, and he was accountable to me. There's a lot of power in that, and it just blossomed into this like-minded entity, which was our business that we all had to contribute to.
Yeah.
It was just talk about endorphins, like, and dopamine, like building with your hands, and then also like, okay, now I need to hire people, so I'm hiring people, and I'm a leader again, and I'm starting to feel myself again, and my chest is starting to come up, and I'm an inch taller, and I started to feel myself again, and ultimately that, along with many other things, that's probably the biggest thing that saved my life, is being part of something that was bigger than myself.